Do you find it hard to forgive others? And have you even thought about forgiving yourself about things that you've done in your past that unfortunately you can't go back and change? And you feel bad because even though maybe other people involved forgave you, you haven't just released it and forgave yourself. Well, in today's video, I'm going to tell you guys about something that I've had to learn to forgive myself for. And it wasn't necessarily easy, but I think I finally got to the place where I have let it go. Hey, and welcome to my channel. For those of you guys who are new here, my name is Adriana, and on this channel I share about my happiness, my healing, and my health journey and more, and just really expand upon how I am growing and evolving as a beautiful human being. So if you think this is something that will resonate with you, be sure to do me a favor and hit that like button, hit the subscription button, and also that notification bell so you're notified when I post new videos. Now, in today's video, like I stated, I want to tell you guys about something I've really had to grab a hold of, process through all the emotions, and then realize, Adriana, forgive yourself for this because number one, you can't go back and change it. Number two, you were young, you didn't know. And number three, you didn't fail. You remember, Adriana, failure is feedback. So you learn from that situation because you haven't repeated it. So don't be so hard on yourself. So story time. For those of you who don't really know me as well, I have two children. My first son I had with somebody I was not in a marriage with, but a relationship with. And that whole situation was kind of interesting. And before we even get into the relationship aspect of the whole relationship, and just so you know, don't skip forward because this is not a relationship bashing or man bashing video at all. This part is important just like the rest of the video. So when I grew up, I knew, like, I would say by the age 15 that I wanted to get married. And so I was like, I want to get married and I want to save myself for marriage, being a Christian. And I was very, very adamant about that at 15, but then 3 years later, just experiencing a little bit of life and growing up and going to college and things, you kind of get more mature and more curious. And so I wasn't able to hold that. And I believe I lost my virginity when I was 18. Yes, when I was 18. And so I began to talk to a couple people, but then I lost my virginity to somebody else before my son's father. And we were together for several years, and I positioned myself in that relationship to be married. I didn't want it to be that I'm just dating for the heck of it. That was never my thing. I just wanted to make sure I was intentional with how I pursued the relationship. So it ultimately ended in marriage. And the conversation came up a couple of times, but it was like we're 18, maybe 10 years down the line. And I have family that has, grandparents that have been married for several years. I have good values and standards, but it wasn't going to work that it was going to be 10 years. So by then, this was probably a conversation that we had almost at the end of our relationship, and we ended up not having a relationship much longer after that marriage conversation. And then I realized we separated. But after we separated, I think a week or two later, I found out that I was pregnant. And so that was really heartbreaking because I knew that I did not want, deep down inside, as much as I knew that I wanted to get married at 15, I also knew that I didn't want to have a broken family because I understood and I knew the emotions that happens and comes with two parents living in a separate household. So I was very devastated, and I just was really hard on myself about it. And a lot of that fuel for the mother I was to make sure that he just never felt lack or any limitations because there was only one parent in the household. And that was a lot of emotions and a lot of questions. But I really had to forgive myself for that because I never, and even to my son's face with tears in my eyes, I was telling him, Mommy, never, please, I would never have wanted this at all. I said I was picturing, family and things like that, but I would never, ever willingly want to do that. And I don't think really anybody willingly wants to do it, but life happens. And, even being a Christian at the time, I was like, how did this happen? And, I realized it wasn't a good fit, but I realized also I kind of was sheltered a little bit when I grew up, so I didn't have a lot of, you know, experience with relationships. And had I had more, I probably wouldn't have had that relationship, and maybe down the line it would have been better. I would have made way better choices, but it is what it is. So what has really helped me was, you know, just growing and understanding that life in life, you grow, you go through things that test your faith, and you see how strong you are, and you make better choices, and you grow. And I have had so many wonderful things that have happened in spite of that failed relationship that make me feel okay, fine. Because since the relationship split, my son was with me, and I was providing for him. I was able to get a 1-bedroom apartment, and that was nice. I always had a car, my phone, and my bills were always paid. You know, I was always taking care of him. I put him in daycare, and he was very clean. You know, he was just really, really well taken care of. And so I do pride myself in that. Like, I wasn't just like, oh, whatever, it didn't work out, I'm just gonna like be depressed about it. I was able to pick up the fighter within me and continue to move forward as the mother that I needed to be. And over the years, I would really just go, man, I wish I could have done that different. I wish I could have done that different. And then a new desire and a new hope came. I still wanted to be married. So it was kind of like, well, maybe getting married and I can find the person that I'm wanting to be in a relationship with. They have to, first of all, love children, because I want more. They have to love children, and they have to be a good example to my son, because he needs that good example too, not only with his father, but also if you're going to be in the house living here, that he can look up to as well. So I had another standard in place. And so my husband now is, you know, a good example, and they have conversations, and he'll even say to me, Mom, can I hang out with Mel today? And, you know, can I spend time with him? And they'll go out and do things. So I'm very grateful. And I think that because of that situation, current situation being a lot better, that has really allowed me to release it. And then also just, I think a big part of that was being in Christianity and just feeling like you had a child out of wedlock. You sinned, you're going to spend your life in hell, you did everything wrong. But coming out of that, I have been able to shift my mind and my perspective to realize it was a situation that didn't go as planned, but no, I'm not going to be sent to hell for it. And, you know, I'm not living in sin because I made that, you know, that decision at the time that I did. I've been able to forgive myself. And I told myself this, like, I don't really care what other people think about the situation, because we all go through different experiences. We all have things that we can be embarrassed about. But once you are sure of yourself and realize, like, you know what? Yes, this may have happened, but I did what I needed to do as a mom. Yes, this has happened, but, you know, I'm moving forward. I'm not holding any negative feelings or grudges. You know, unfortunately, I wasn't prepared going out into the world to handle these situations, but at the same time I was also prepared to handle other situations. So I'm all in a space of being grateful for the lessons that came along with that situation, because it really showed me, wow, you're responsible, you take care of, you know, your son, you love him, you can provide for him and still work, you know. And I was always having him with me, so it really did just show me some really good things about me. It wasn't all bad. So if there's something that you are struggling with and you need to forgive yourself, maybe it's something similar. Maybe you've had multiple children like that, or maybe it's a job that you decided to not go for. You know, you're kind of beating yourself up because you didn't take the time to really think about it, or you weren't prepared to make that decision. You know, sometimes that helps, just realizing, you know, it didn't happen for a reason. In this space that I'm at right now, I realize that I'm divinely guided and protected, and I'm grateful for certain things that did happen with the relationship, because had there been an absence of the relationship, and what I mean, for example, is going to college. College was a lot for me. I mean, again, coming from being more sheltered, going to smaller yet very city school. And so the things I was exposed to, I was like, you know, I'm very committed, I'm very faithful in relationships, so I wasn't doing a lot of stuff that other people were doing. So I'm grateful, because that preserved me from out here doing things that I know I shouldn't have done. So that, again, really helped me. And like I said, I can view a lot of different things that I have gone through, and I'm able to like release them one by one. I just really wanted to forgive myself for that, because I realized there's going to be more things that I do as a mom that I'm going to have to forgive myself for it. And I tell myself this all the time, like there's no blueprint. And when I grew up, I thought there was a blueprint for parenthood, but him being a boy and him having to go back and forth between households, and they're completely different. And now he's living with his dad right now. It's very much like, okay, well, learn to forgive yourself slowly but surely with different things, because if you continue to hold on to all the things, you're going to pile up and lose your mind. So that was like probably the biggest weight on my shoulder, that I can sit up taller now, and I'm way more, relaxed about the situation, and just willing to have these conversations with him also, if he has them later down the line. But I didn't want to hold it on with unforgiveness to myself. So I'm dealing with too many emotions when it's time to have those conversations. So guys, I would love to hear from you. Put in the comments, like, I can so relate. This is my story. If you have gone through something similar, if there's something that you have on your mind that you just have really had some trouble forgiving, I would love to hear it. And guys, until next time, make sure that you first like, subscribe, and hit that notification. And I will see you in the next video. Love and light.